Okay. Can we have pledge allegiance, please? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231, Public Laws, 1975, which is to state for the record that adequate notice of this meeting will be provided to the public by posting and maintaining the annual notice of the regular meeting on the bulletin board in this building, and by providing a copy of the annual notice of the regular meeting for the year 2015 to the Glen paper, the Glen Voice, the Montclair Times, the Star Ledger, released on Wednesday, January 7, 2015, and we filed said notice in the office. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Patrick?
Here.
Basotis?
Here.
Lefkowitz?
Here.
Dawson?
Here.
Councilperson Murphy's absent. Councilperson Morrow?
Here.
Mayor Hughes is present. Mr. Mayor, you have the floor.
Mike, we have written communications.
Yes, you do, Mr. Mayor. We have a certificate of termination and award that was signed by our CFO in accordance with the statute for the issuance of the notes in advance.
Okay.
We have a permit application from the County Update Department of Public Works for the mosquito program. We have a copy of the entire permit in room 102 in the principal building. Received a letter from the Majority Leader, State Senator Loretta Weinberg, regarding amendments to the Open Public Meetings Act as well as the Open Public Records Act. Also, we have a letter of Port Authority on a land use information for airport study, and the Port Authority is going to be conducting a study of noise impact from Newark Airport, and we're going to post online the link where you can find updates on the progress in that study, and that concludes correspondence.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting of July 13th?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Anybody got any comments, questions? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll.
Councilperson Patrick?
Aye.
Basotis?
I will abstain.
Lefkowitz?
Aye.
Dawson?
Aye.
Morrow?
Aye.
4 ayes, 1 abstention, no nays. Motion is carried.
Thank you. So, there's some members of the public here with us tonight. You're welcome to please come up and give us your name and tell us what's on your mind.
Hi.
Hi.
Good evening. I'm Christina Gabriel from 14 Laurel Place. We were here with you at the last town council meeting. Thank you for hearing us out, and thank you to the Chief of Police for being so responsive and helpful. We're here tonight. I'm here along with 3 of my neighbors. Many of us are on vacation, as you might imagine, to really reiterate our concerns regarding the traffic and speed issues on Laurel Place, that we want to remain consistent in our cause, and we will continue to come to meetings to make our concerns known. We want to help as the hospital development continues and just be in assistance in any way that we can. All right, so thank you very much.
Okay. Do we have any report on that topic later?
Yes, we will. Councilperson Morrow will have a report on that.
Yes. And we're going to get through this agenda fairly quickly, so if you'd like to stay, then you can hear. Is anyone else? Are we all here for Laurel Place and traffic? Fair enough. I have we did have I guess a soft opening. This was the first day when we had activity on George Washington Field, and I think it was our girls field hockey team. Right? They practiced there. We're
Mr. Mayor, this is a grant that we applied for to the state of New Jersey. It'll be a reimbursement grant. Of course, the state was encouraging all towns to get involved.
Yep.
And it'll be roving patrols through the town so that during especially the Labor Day holiday time that we can assure that we're keeping the roads as safe as possible.
Yeah. So if you're going to drink, don't drive. Okay. That ends my comments, sir. Can I turn it over to you?
Yes, Mayor. The Finance and Administration Committee has no formal report tonight, but we do have a consent agenda which includes resolutions 104-15 to 109-15. The following items are considered to be routine and will be acted upon with a single motion. If any discussion is requested on a consent agenda item, it will be removed from the consent agenda to the regular agenda. All consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes. I move the resolution.
Further resolution?
I'll second the motion.
Comments? Anybody any problems with the consent?
Nope.
Okay. So we have a resolution moved and seconded. Will clerk call the roll?
Councilperson Patrick?
Aye.
Savage?
Aye.
Leftwich?
Aye.
Dawson?
Aye.
Morrow?
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays, resolution is approved.
That includes my report this evening.
Thank you. Councilman Sovich?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Public Safety Committee met this evening as we do every month. Actually, not as we do every month. Usually we meet on the first Monday, but schedules sometimes don't permit us to. So we did meet this evening. I'll let the chief report out on a program that we're going to be starting soon with the Glen Volunteer Ambulance Squad, transporting seniors to needed medical care, which should start up sometime, maybe September. And also the National Night Out, but I'll defer to the chief on that. Besides that, and by the way, I see some of the residents from Laurel Place who attended our public safety meeting a couple of months ago, well, last month actually. So you know when the meetings are held. Okay. I do have two ordinances. I have ordinance number 1631 for final reading. This is an ordinance that will restrict or limit the number of towing contractors to the list that the borough employs to do its towing in town to 3 firms. That's ordinance number 1631.
Mr. Mayor, just to state for the record that this ordinance has been properly advertised and posted in accordance with the state statute.
Thank you, Mike. I declare the meeting open for discussion of this ordinance, and only this ordinance is being time and place for a public hearing. Just for the members of the public who are here, when we have an ordinance which is a change to our borough laws, or a financial plan, we have to hold a public hearing. So we introduce it, and then we have an estoppel period of 21 days, I think.
No, we have an advertising period of 10 days. The estoppel period is only for bond issues.
Okay, so we have to introduce it first, and then it's advertised so that people can be waived, and then we put it up on our website so people can familiarize themselves with the issue. And then we introduce it for a second reading, and then we have a public hearing, and then only after that do we have a vote. Which has to do with the number of companies that are going to be allowed to tow at the request of the police vehicles in our town.
And we're limiting it to 3.
So, is there anyone from the public who would like to speak? Seeing none, I declare the hearing closed.
Mr. Mayor, I move that it finally be passed.
Okay.
Second.
Art, thank you. Okay, so we've heard the motion by Councilman Sovich, seconded by Councilman Dawson. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilperson Patrick?
Aye.
Savage?
Aye.
Leftwich?
Aye.
Dawson?
Aye.
Morrow?
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays, the ordinance is passed on final reading.
I actually have an ordinance under new business, but I should hold that call. Okay.
Okay, so for now.
So I'm done.
all set. David?
Mr. Mayor, I have no report this evening.
Thank you. Councilman Dawson?
I have no formal report, other than that, the Public Works Group has been, taking care of the fields, as required. We've been cleaning catch basins and doing other maintenance, and, hopefully this rain that we're gonna get now will not cause us any problems. But, people have been staying on top of everything we need to so far. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Actually, I would like to raise just one brief question because it has to do with utilities and so on. I noticed at home that the tap water in our house had sort of a musty odor and taste to it, and I was looking this up, and it said this is apparently a problem in a lot of places during the summertime, and it
surface water, our water is mostly groundwater rather than well water. But some of, we do get some well
It's a
water.
combination of, we use the Wanacue Reservoir for the surface water, and then Montclair has several wells which we draw from, mainly the Glenfield well, by the Glenfield Middle School.
Right, but we should be, I mean,
So we should have-
could that be anything to do with the flushing, are we done flushing?
We're done with flushing water. Now, there was a period of time when the North Jersey Water District, who runs the Wanacue Reservoir, was doing some valve replacement, valve testing. So a couple of weeks ago, they did send out a notice that there might be some changes in the water quality.
Yeah,
Everything's still being within the realms, but it might be.
I would think it would be more plumbing related, not necessarily your plumbing related, but system plumbing as opposed to an algae plumbing. If that were the case, I think we would work for somebody else.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Hopefully it'll clear up in a day or two. How long's it been going on?
Not more than a month.
A month? What?
Yeah.
Well, you were away for a couple of weeks too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Can you get tested locally?
Why don't we?
We could,
Okay,
I'll reach out to North Jersey.
Yeah, we'll check it out.
See if they have it. And also I'll check with Montclair.
I mean, I was curious as to whether anyone else had noticed the same thing, because as I say, when I looked it up, apparently it happens.
Stuart's obviously are just as clear as we always are.
That's because they're filtered.
I'm sorry.
Am I still up?
Go ahead. You know,
It's just that I've noticed it too. I don't have an opinion on what it is,
Yeah.
but just,
Wasn't discolored at all, was it?
No, it's not the color, it's just the odor and the taste. You just notice it.
Well, it's chlorinated, sometimes chlorine
cloudy.
on,
Yeah.
it's a little cloudy.
Well, sometimes in the summer, they increase chlorine levels. That's one thing they may do, and also there's sequestering that's done by it. So I'll check with North Jersey.
Yeah, check out with North Jersey.
Any changes in their protocol.
we'll shoot you an email.
Yeah, but the cloudiness could be,
If you'd like to shoot your email, just leave it on the way. Okay?
it's still at a parts per million level though.
Yeah, within the ERP knows the cloudiness is usually higher chlorine levels.
Okay. Art, you're good?
Yeah.
We're good. Murphy's not here. Councilperson Laura.
All right. I will report briefly on the Mountainside redevelopment plan. The town of Montclair's council did meet and approve the request that RFPs be jointly issued. So as of last Friday, requests were put forward for consultants to begin to place a bid on the redevelopment plan. Bids are due by August 28th. There was specific language in the RFP to cover and have the consultants address the Laurel Place traffic issues. I believe as of today, there were 4 requests received, so
That's correct.
appears to be a very competitive bidding process, and responses are due August 28th. So that's the deadline for the request for consultants to bid on this redevelopment process. There is no planning board meeting in August, but there will be one in September. They meet, I was trying to look up the date, it's generally the 3rd Wednesday of the month, 8 p.m. in this location.
Eric Bacon, Laurel Place. Is there a redevelopment plan for Laurel Place? What are they doing if there's no redevelopment?
No, it's part of the whole Mountainside redevelopment plan. It's the whole joint Montclair Glen Ridge nursing
So
school.
this will be a traffic study.
It's a traffic.
It's a traffic study.
Yes, it's going to be part of,
Right.
yes, it's going to be part of the overall traffic considerations, but there was, my understanding is there was a specific request to look at this particular.
The impact, right?
Yes.
What the impact will be with the hospital's plans
Right.
on Laurel.
Got it.
Okay. But consider it holistically, right?
Yes, right.
Fair enough. Okay. Anne Marie?
That's it.
That's
Yeah,
it?
no, I don't have
Yes,
anything.
sir.
What's the deadline, once that's approved and once you grant the RFP?
Well, the RFP is a request for proposal by consultant, so that will then be vetted and reviewed.
And then we would pick a consultant.
Yeah,
In coordination with, so this is
So
not going to be
so you're letting the RFP dictate the timeframe?
No.
No.
No, not at all.
No, I mean,
So are all the bidders providing documentation that says this process is only going to be X amount of months?
traffic
I
study.
mean,
Yeah,
It's much broader than just a traffic study.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, say it again?
But the redevelopment plan is much broader than just a traffic study. There's an environmental phase to it, there's a land use phase to it. It's looking at each of the properties and determining exactly the zoning criteria for that property, setbacks, site considerations, massing. But as part of the proposal, we asked for a time schedule when the consultant believes they could deliver a final product.
So the scope of work for each of the bidders, these 4 bidders right now, is the same?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. The timeframe that they have to execute their work is up to them, or
Yeah.
did you create a timeline?
No, we did create a timeline. However, we'll have part of the consideration will be the timeline that the respondent gives us. So they're requesting to give us a study. And there's about, I would say, maybe at least 10 different deliverables that are part of the project. So
There'll be public hearings
Did you
throughout this
establish those
process.
10 deliverables of the,
Yes,
as
we
part of
did.
your RFP?
that's what we, jointly with Montclair, we went through it, we figured we had,
Great.
we had the hearings for the area in need of redevelopment, and from those hearings, we developed criteria for the redevelopment plan study. So it was based on public comments that we received at several public hearings and public meetings.
But Mike, I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to set an expectation level here, and the residents here are they wanna know. So it's probably encouraging to know that there is gonna be a formal study being done of Laurel Place and as it sits within in its geography, right? But, so it's gonna be part of the program, but when are we gonna see anything coming back on that? I'm gonna guess it's months, not weeks.
Well, I agree with you, it is
Yeah.
months, I know it's going to be months.
Yeah.
The question is, did you, again, part of your criteria, I'm sure, of picking these people is going to be, what's the time frame for these people? If someone's going to take a year to do the study, they're not going to win the bid.
No, that's
If someone's going to take 4 months.
That's correct.
What I was trying to understand, I'm an architect and I do this all the time for my living, the question is for the people that are next to me, my neighbors, you know, I'm trying to understand the criteria that you set forth with Montclair, and is there a time frame associated to it, so I can go back to them and say, listen, we got 4 months to wait for this, but right now, we don't know what the time frame is, that's all I'm trying to say.
So I think we'll know more. How about if we just adjourn this until we get some of the proposals
Great.
back, and then we can look at it, and we can talk about it then, how's that?
That's great.
And I think too, we have passed, and there's probably going to be clarifications, because there's additional traffic studies that have to be accomplished. There was initial traffic studies done by the hospital, which we have included with the RFP, but since we've expanded the area for traffic studies, they're going to also have to work with sub-consultants to get them out there to perform additional traffic studies, or traffic counts rather.
And I'm speaking for a group, do you all agree that there's an issue with Laurel Place?
We met in public safety, and as we discussed, we found that the speed limit, the people that are traveling there are traveling too fast. Something needs to be done. But before we could do something like even think about closing the street, we need to work on the whole redevelopment plan of that area. We don't know how, for example, Bay Avenue will be affected on Ridgewood, how the Walnut Crescent will be affected. It depends upon what, at the end of the day, is decided upon by the Borough of Montclair, the Borough of Montclair, Glen Ridge, and also the hospital.
Right.
So that all has to be done.
It will not be looked at as an isolated piece, but the entire, I mean, the traffic in that section is terrible for many people trying to travel through there, so.
And we discussed some of the things that we'll consider doing, like policing it for the time being, and actively look to make certain that the speeds are lowered to what should be normal for that area.
Yes, sir.
I'm Dan Career, I'm at 5 Laurel Place. Just so I'm clear, the hospital has a plan for redevelopment, so now they're hiring somebody, the town?
No.
They don't have a plan yet, okay.
All the hospital properties, except for the main hospital, have been declared either an area in need of redevelopment or an area in need of rehabilitation. There's about 21 properties involved. So, but the part of the redevelopment plan is to look at all those properties, develop an overall plan for the campus. So there's other issues that we'll be dealing with. Affordable housing is one of the issues that came up that we'll be dealing with. So going to time, I think would be, I would say, end of the year would be best case situation. Best case. If not even longer. So, but we'll be sharing, we're gonna have at least 3 public meetings, with residents to go over where we are in the redevelopment plan, as well as public hearings with the planning board and with the council. So there'll be plenty of opportunities, for public input.
So it sounds like before any ground is broken to do any type of work, it should year
Yes.
or 2 off.
Yes,
Oh, yes.
and there has to be a
Probably.
plan established, and
Right.
that process will take.
Yeah, 'cause the process is to a redevelopment plan, then there has to be site plan approval, and then because it's area new redevelopment, there has to be agreements with the redeveloper in both municipalities. So there's several steps in the process before we break ground.
I would just like to say thank you very much to the council and to Chief Sheila for including that in the plans for the hospital and for putting it out there to the RPA. We really, really appreciate it. We know it's a first step, but we really, really appreciate it. Secondly, you said that it will be done in conjunction with Montclair. Will all of those plans be presented similarly here and at the Montclair Planning Board? Should we attend both?
That's a great question.
No, what we have done in the past, we're jointly having public hearings. So it's not a public hearing in Montclair, and then a public hearing. We may have individual meetings just to get to issues in both towns, but then after that, we'll have joint meetings with the planning boards in which the progress on the redevelopment plan will be allowed.
Most likely they'll be held in the
firehouse.
firehouse, right
That's
on
what we
at Pine
did
Street.
in the past. We had several joint meetings, but I think in this RFP, we believe that the first kickoff meeting should be in each town, and then after that, all the meetings except for the council public hearing should be by joint boards.
Great. Thank you again. We really appreciate it.
I have one thing.
Stand up, come on up.
I don't want to. All right. I work right in the building next door. This is directed to you. Today I came home for lunch and I was checking on my dogs. And there's 2 boys from 15 Laurel out on the street, and 3 cars in the middle of it. 3 cars in a matter of 11 minutes shot up the road. And I've never ever, since I've lived here, I mean I've lived in Glen Ridge for 17 years now, and I've lived on Laurel for 6 and a half now, 7 in October. I've never seen one car, police, and sitting there watching people shoot up and down the road. And I'm speaking for everybody right now. Maybe they've seen it, but you got to give me a presence. Someone's got to be there to just look at what goes on during the day. It's really unacceptable.
Well, we really are there, sir. We're there in routine patrol, and I want to say for the last...
Yeah, we've done
I'm just
it.
telling you what I see, and I'm speaking for what I saw today, which was abominable. And again, you can use my driveway, I don't care. I don't see someone parking and just blocking it, that's all.
I know, I mean, just to be fair, I mean, we have been patrolling all the place. And we have
Daily.
We have 3 units out on the road.
Yeah,
We got 1 on the north end, 1 on the south end, and
Even
1
if you
supervisory.
even if you took Chris and put him on the motorcycle on the driveway so that he can see.
Well, we had the street Druid Avenue was closed today. The gas company's out there in the middle of the street, so probably we're tied up today with that.
I think the answer to the question is, I hear what you said.
Yeah.
I think the chief heard what you said. I think we have been responsive and will continue to respond. All right, I'd like to move on if we can. Let's see, so we've gone through all the reports, right?
Thanks again, Ted.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Comments, the administrator?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tax bills were finally sent last week. They were delayed due to state certification. The due date is September 4th, and because of the late mailing, there is no grace period. Usually there's a 10-day grace period after the due date, and there will not be, so everything's due September 4th, or the interest.
Now, who decided there's going to be no grace period?
It's because of it's a state statute.
State statute, okay. So personally, I think there ought to be
I did too.
grace period.
I felt the same way with the tax collector. She said because of the
Hey, look,
timing.
if it's out of my hands, it's out of my hands,
Yeah.
but otherwise, I think it stinks.
Yeah. Well, we gave.
They delay it, right?
Yeah. Well,
It's not our fault, and they're gonna penalize the residents if they're a day or 2 late.
Down.
Sell your house out from underneath.
It's not only, that's the thing, I mean, you read these things in the paper, and you're like, who thought of that? I mean, it's just so, it doesn't pass a dumb test sometimes.
Yeah, because I initially said it was going to be a 10-day grace period.
Yeah.
Reported, so
Yeah, I
I was They're
joined with
doing a good job.
Bloomfield
Yeah, no,
also.
I think it's doing a very good job.
Is it gonna come in over budget?
Yes, it will.
Almost has to, they ran into all
That's what
kinds of stuff.
that's what I was thinking.
I think the biggest surprise was the amount of rock
Yeah.
than anticipated, and then there were some utility locations due to, you always get the mark out ahead of time, but you really don't know until you start digging where all the utilities lie, and so there had to be some playing around with the storm sewer system. So, but, that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. John? I have no report, Mayor. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the police commissioner said, thanks everybody for coming out in town for National Night Out. It was a nice showing at the town pool on a good warm evening, and I think our sign-in sheet had 57 guests, whether they were new to the town pool, to come out and see the emergency service vehicles, ambulance, police, and Montclair. And it's an annual event that we do every first Tuesday in August. So thanks again. And also our service that we've been working on with the Glen Volunteer Ambulance Squad and the Borough Administrator is taking one of our four-door Crown Vics, and we have a start-up date, a soft date of September 1st for Glen Volunteer Ambulance Squad members to start doing transportations for ambulatory people in town that need to get to a doctor's visit on a appointment basis. So it's something that we should be seeing between now and completely rolled out by mid-October.
Right.
So it'll be a good project. I think they've got to get the word out, and as we said at the meeting, right, build it, and they will come. The people that need to get some assistance with doctor's appointments during the day.
Chief, this was a service that used to be provided by the Red Cross.
That is correct.
They're no longer going to do it.
The Red Cross, I believe, has stopped the service as of November 1st.
That's correct. We anticipate that they were going to end next year, and they announced a new date on November 1st that they're going to cease the service.
Just for the press, we'll have a full announcement to make in the next couple of weeks after we develop this. We can get it all finalized. Okay, I think it's fair. So we were going to try and do a soft opening starting in September.
That's correct.
And then kick it off in October. It's not open to just anyone. You got to make an appointment. I think it's age restricted, right?
It is age restrictive. I know we have.
Pretty much age restricted, and it's 24-hour notice. So the ambulance squad will be providing all the details in there.
Right. So we'll be making an announcement on that. But it's something that was a service that was provided to primarily our seniors in the past. It was one that was sponsored by the Red Cross. The Red Cross has decided it's not part of their program. We did not want to see that service go away. In fact, we wanted to expand it. Discussing this issue with the volunteer ambulance squad, they saw this as an opportunity for themselves. So it really was a win-win. And I'm very pleased that we're able to maintain and or improve the service for our seniors primarily, because the more we can, I'm just happy we can do more for them.
Yeah, and kudos again to the volunteer ambulance squad.
Yeah.
They're the best.
Well, it was one of these where all this came together. We had a very interested person who was doing it for the Red Cross, wanted to continue to do it, had drivers that were available. We had the chief who was willing to intercede for us with the volunteer ambulance squad who stepped up. We had our administrator who was willing to put some time and effort into it. So it was the craziness that we were talking about earlier on not having a grace period for taxes. This is an example of when government really works, and you pull something together. It's like, wow, we can really do something that's going to be meaningful. How good is that? So,
Is there another such thing about?
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get
It's
something.
going to be a mailing.
We'll get something. Okay. Chief, anything else?
And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thank
I think
you.
we did have one notable visitor at National Night Out. The congressman showed up.
We did. Congressman Kane came for a visit, and that was nice. He talked a little bit about his homeland security initiatives and interoperability within the state of New Jersey, but it was nice to have him. And as we were discussing at the public safety meeting, nobody could hear anything. Everybody was saying because kids were having too much fun on the siren and the and the police radio. But we got a good visual.
We'd like to acknowledge the visit from the congressman. It's important that we're getting a little attention. We appreciate it very much. And we certainly will be extending another invitation for him to come back, perhaps even for the George Washington Field ribbon cutting ceremony. But it's nice to have, an interaction and a communication with our congressman. These things are important at the government level and for our residents. If you have issues
business, I have ordinance number 1632 for first reading. This is an ordinance setting the maximum annual salary for our crossing guards.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion, council? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilperson Patrick.
Aye.
Pasovis.
Aye.
Lefkowitz.
Aye.
Dawson.
Aye.
Morrow.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays. The ordinance is passed on first reading.
Okay, and I refer the ordinance to the municipal clerk for the purpose of statutory publication and posting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Very good, that's all I have.
Any unfinished business, Mike?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, comments of the public, I think pretty much covered. Art, do you have a motion for?
I'd like to move that the meeting be adjourned.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.